Sarah Zecca, and I did my senior project on the power of pet therapy. So I was talking to the woman I interviewed, and she told an incredible story. Her dog, Ren, pictured behind me in one of the outfits she wears to go visit the elderly at the nursing home, can sense people who are distressed. So this woman was driving to an agility competition in New York and stopped at a rest stop. As soon as they stepped out of the car, Ren started pulling her owner to a woman across the rest area on the other side of the parking lot. The owner, Sean, let Ren pull her over to this woman, believing that her dog was trying to tell her something. So Ren stopped at this woman and sat down next to her. Sean and the woman started talking about therapy dogs, and the woman said that she had just bought a therapy dog for her autistic son. Sean asked her how that was working out, and the woman broke down in tears, confessing that she had just institutionalized her son and was not sure if she had made the right decision. Ren knew that the woman was distressed and needed comfort as she came back from visiting her son in an institution. This incredible power of dogs to sense when someone is stressed or worried is part of why pet therapy is such a good stress management tool. After researching and through my personal experience volunteering at the SPCA, I have found that pets have a powerful effect on stress levels. I believe that stress management and achieving balance in life is important. So I'll first talk to you about what stress is, moving on to why I chose this topic for my senior project, ending with how to manage stress and why pet therapy helps. So let's look at stress itself. What is stress? Stress is defined as a demand made on an organism to adapt, cope, or adjust. Short-term stress, in fight or flight situations, causes the body to temporarily stop digestion and cell growth and reproduction, send blood to the limbs to increase readiness for action, and withdraw blood from the skin so if wounded, the body will not bleed as much. Long-term stress, or chronic stress, is linked to aging and causes the reproductive system to be more vulnerable, the immune system to not work as well, and the brain chemistry to be similar to that of a person who has depression. Teenagers are actually proven to be more stressed than adults. Over a third of teens are tired and fatigued, and over a fifth of teens skip meals due to the stress in their lives. These stressors come from a variety of sources, including school, extracurriculars, family issues, national and world issues, and violent acts. Having all of that stress is physically terrible for the body because, according to author Margaret Hyde and Dr. Elizabeth Forsythe, repeated or chronic stress that activates a person's stress response over and over again can cause disease, especially when the stress is psychological. Obviously, all of this stress and the side effects are bad for a person physically, mentally, and emotionally. Stress management is a way to combat the physical effects of stress. For example, being around a domestic animal can reduce stress, anxiety, and pain levels, as well as fight depression and fatigue in people with health problems, like, too many slides, like the dogs behind me here that I worked with at the SPCA. All of these symptoms are side effects of stress that can be managed through pet therapy. As you can now see, stress is bad for mental and physical health and needs to be managed. For my senior project, I wanted to look at stress management and pet therapy. I wanted to look at stress management and how pet therapy helps because over the past couple of years, I've become more and more stressed, which is something I'm sure everyone here can relate to. Something I've had trouble with is how to manage stress. I don't have a healthy balance of work and play in my life. However, in the back of my mind, I knew I needed to work on that. The past couple of years especially have had a big lack of sleep for me. Not having enough sleep causes more susceptibility to sickness, especially in schools where there are more sicknesses going around. It also makes it harder to pay attention in classes and in meetings. Personally, I have found it taxing to function on so little sleep. I think as a society, we need to change and value the person who lives a balanced, healthy, and happy life, as opposed to the person who is able to do it all, but is unhappy and stressed. Now, I know what you're thinking. I shouldn't be talking about this as someone who's chronically overcommitted. I also realize that most of us are applying for college and other post-high school programs and feel pressure to be the well-rounded student that admissions officers want. However, volunteering at the SPCA with animals such as these has helped to show me the value of leaving time to enjoy something I like doing. I believe that this is an important lesson to be learned. Along with volunteering at the SPCA, my own pets help relieve stress. This is also scientifically proven to be true, as I mentioned earlier. To restate it, a quote from a magazine titled Natural Health states that over the last few years, researchers have discovered that owning a pet can reduce blood pressure, heart rate, and cholesterol, lower triglyceride levels, lessen stress, result in fewer doctor visits, and alleviate depression. However, pet therapy is not the only method that works to relieve stress. Different methods of stress management work for different people. I believe that stress management is important to live a balanced life. Any method that is healthy and works should be valued, and time should be taken to pursue that method. Examples of stress management include pet therapy, exercise, reading, yoga, meditation, writing, etc. Any and all of these would work to help manage stress levels. During my time spent at the SPCA, I realized just how much pets can help relieve stress. While there, I spent time working with both cats and dogs. I took dogs for walks along Soap Farm Road and the bike path. One such dog was Timber. He was a big coonhound that was terrified of the noise of the highway. We would get to the corner of the road where the highway was just visible, and he would lay down and refuse to move. I spent a lot of time working with him to get over his fear of the highway. A lot of the dogs had fear and anxiety issues that made it hard for them to get adopted. After walking them, I would bring them into the rec room and play fetch and work on basic commands like sit, down, and stay to help them get adopted. Working with the dogs helped me to become less stressed and forget everything I had to do when I left the shelter. I also worked with cats at the SPCA. After cleaning all the kennels that they were kept in, I was able to spend time playing with the cats, like the picture behind me. This helped the cats get used to being around people, and it was also fun for me. As part of my research, I interviewed a woman named Shawn who brings her dog Ren to a nursing home weekly. During this interview, she told me some amazing stories like the one I shared at the beginning of my talk. The work that Ren does with the elderly helps ease the transition period between living at home and living in a nursing home. And she comforts those who remember having pets of their own. Pet therapy and owning pets in general is hugely beneficial to stress levels. I'll leave you with one final story. Right after 9/11, Ladder House 20 was in mourning for firefighters' loss in the falling of the Twin Towers. 2 deputies from Monroe County's Sheriff's Department showed up with a purebred Dalmatian puppy. See behind me, right there. This puppy became part of the family at Ladder House 20. 20, the puppy, helped the firefighters grieve and mourn their losses. She went on every run that the firefighters did for 10 years. You can see her in the window of the fire truck. As said by the lieutenant of the fire station, 20 calmed you. She brought a certain peace to you, and she was a focal point of stress relief. Thank you. Any questions?
Sarah, through this, I know you talked about a lot about the balance necessary, right, in needing it. Now, if you're not necessarily working with the SPCA, or in the future when you're in college, you might not have that opportunity in the same way. What are you going to do? Like, have you thought about some of the strategies that you'll need to employ to keep that balance?
I'm thinking exercise is also something that works really well for me. So definitely signing up for like yoga classes and stuff like that, just to sort of bring myself back to center. And I know they also bring dogs to colleges a lot before midterms and finals, and they have like a pet the dog day, So something like that as well, probably. Anything else?
Sarah?
Yeah.
Now, if somebody has a very stressful life, would you recommend that they get a dog? Because I know that there's a lot of responsibilities also associated with having a dog.
Yeah, there are a lot of responsibilities associated with having a dog. I think, like at the SPCA, they handle it in a really great way. So we train the dogs to sit, stay down, and to go to the bathroom only when they're outside and stuff like that. So I think getting an older dog from a shelter, if you're worried about that stress, would be a good way to balance having a dog and managing your stress, and also not having a huge amount of responsibility.